Hello everyone, my name is Roya, and my forehead got really sunburned at Y'all West, so that's why my bangs are like this. I'm arranging them so that they still cover the side of my forehead that's really sunburned. But anyway, today I am bringing you my second half of April wrap-up. So first I'm going to talk about a series that I completed. That was the Demon Child trilogy, consisting of Medallion, Treason Keep, and Harshini by Jennifer Fallon. I can't really summarize this without spoiling like everything, but basically the first book starts off with our main character, Rashiel, who is the daughter of the woman in charge of the Sisterhood of the Blade, which is what rules the kingdom of Medallion's government. Or I guess they're not really a kingdom because they don't have a monarch, but the other kingdoms nearby have monarchs. They just, Medallion just has the Sisterhood of the Blade instead. But basically, I really loved this series so much. It was so good. Unfortunately, however, the first book was not my favorite. Mostly just because Rashiel is such a bland main character, and throughout the story, she gets assigned all these traits by the other characters. Like, the other characters will say, oh, like, Rashiel is so spoiled, and she's so ruthless, and all this stuff, but she actually does not exhibit any of those traits whatsoever. She just comes across as, like, really bland. It even says, oh, she was raised to be be prejudiced against the race that she ended up being one of, and she's struggling with that. But do we ever see her struggle at all? Like, no, not at all. We never see that. So I don't know why they kept saying that she was struggling with that when she totally wasn't. Yeah, and she just had so little personality that when another character says at the end of the third book, like, oh, you never would have done that, like, when the series started, basically. Like, you never would have done that a year ago, or whatever it is, and I'm like, I don't know whether she would or not, because she has no personality, my gods! So anyway, I loved the crap out of this series. I loved the world in which the gods are part of their lives, kind of like in all those ancient Greek texts where the gods meddle in like everyone's lives and they're part of it. This is much like that. I loved some of the badass characters we get. I just loved them to pieces, but just Rashiel, just as a main character, I did not like, I was just not invested in her. She just didn't have enough personality to make it interesting. The second book was by far my favorite, although I really loved the third one as well. The second book, actually, about half the screen time, the screen time, end quote, of this book goes to this other really awesome character we get in this book and in the third one, who is a princess named Adrena from a different kingdom, who is supposed to go and marry this prince from yet another kingdom. And unfortunately, the kingdom that she's going to is full of, like, really devout religious people who are just ridiculous, and they don't see how ironic they're being. Like, do you know what I'm talking about? Like, picture those people you see preaching in the park, and like the people who use their religion as an excuse for everything and give all religious people a bad name. I think we all know some of those people. This is like an entire society of people like that. And this girl, this princess, has to go and live there and marry their prince when she comes from a kingdom that's exactly the opposite, where, like, her father got her a male prostitute when she was 16. She's slept with tons of people. She's the opposite of, like, a demure, like, religious, like, she's the exact opposite of what the society that she's going into expects a woman to be. And she seriously makes her situation, like the way that she combats her situation and makes the best of it and tries to get out of there is just so awesome. She's just so badass, and I love her so much. And then she and the guy who she actually ends up with during the series are just seriously my bookish OTP, and I've never said that about anyone ever. I've only ever had 2 OTPs in my entire life, and they're not from books. So seriously, to say I found my bookish OTP, like, I love the crap out of this couple, like, holy crap. But basically, anyway, I loved this series so much. I just couldn't give it the full 5 stars because Rashiel is a really blah character. Then I did also get caught up on another series, and that is the Memoirs of Lady Trent series. I read the second book, A Tropic of Serpents, the third book, Voyage of the Basilisk, and the fourth book, A Labyrinth of Drakes, and they were really awesome. I really like this series a lot, and actually the 5th and final book just came out on the 25th, so you can bet I'm going to be listening to that one very soon. So if you don't know, this series is about a dragon naturalist named Isabella Trent, and she is just such a badass scientist lady. I love reading about her. So basically, each book follows kind of a different expedition that she goes on. The second book has an asexual character who's a pretty major character, which was really, really great to see. And then the third book had a society full of people on an island who have a third gender, and that's like really common for people to be a third gender. And when Lady Trent gets there, they insist that she must be one of these third genders because she so obviously is not what her society expects of like a woman. Because this takes place in like an alternate version of the 1800s, and she's like at this expedition wearing trousers and all this stuff, which like women back then did not do, and so she ends up having to marry a woman on this island, so that they accept her, and it's it's just so funny, and she's not into girls at all, but she just goes, okay, fine, I'll marry this woman because it'll help her. Yeah, so I'm really not sure which book I like the most out of this series so far, now that I've read 4 of them, but they're all really awesome. They leave you with so many questions that you want the answers to by the next book. Like, it's great. The next 2 books I finished in the first couple days of May, so they're just gonna be in this video, so like, too bad. So the first one is The Epic Crush of Jeannie Lo. I got this at Y'all West, and this was the first arc that I got at Y'all West, which was really awesome. I was super excited to read this. I had only heard of it like the week before Y'all West, and so I like was determined to get an arc. So this is about a girl in the Bay Area who is just trying to like get through high school so that she can like apply to good colleges and get in. So that's pretty much her life, just like studying really hard and getting good grades. And then she finds out that there are demons from Chinese folklore like running around killing people, and she is the only one who can defeat them. It is like it all has to do with her. So basically she has to just do all this stuff, and I just love Jeannie as a character. She's so badass, and her narration in this is so funny and really, really awesome. There's some really witty character banter between her and like the main like her friend, the main dude in this, and also the love story is really good. It's really not insta-lovey at all, and it's great. And so I really, really enjoyed reading this. So if you want to add this to your TBR, it comes out on August 8th, so keep an eye out for it. And the last book that I completed in April, which is really also the beginning of May, is Long May She Reign by Rhiannon Thomas. And this is about a girl named Freya who is 23rd in line for the throne, and everyone in front of her dies, and so she winds up being queen when she never thought that she would be. So she's completely unprepared, etc., etc. So I was really expecting, I don't know if I was just expecting too much from this book because I was super, super excited about it, and it was actually kind of a letdown, unfortunately. Like, I still gave it points for having a really awesome female friendship, but everything else about it was just kind of meh. So it was kind of anticlimactic. We don't really see very much of the world at all. We don't even really get a sense of who is related to who, how they're related within the royal family at all. Like, she's 23rd in line to the throne. Like, her best friend is way farther down the line, like 48th or something like that. And so we don't know like really anything about how any of these people are related. And also the love story, I was just not a fan. I felt like it was really insta-lovey. There was like no hint of them being attracted to each other, and then suddenly it's like, I liked you the whole time. And I was reading this at the same time as I was reading The Epic Crush of Jeannie Lo, and I just thought like The Epic Crush of Jeannie Lo did this so much better. like having two people like spend the entire book together and then realize that they like each other. Like this one just failed at that somehow. I just didn't buy it. I wasn't invested in the characters or anything either. And also one major thing too is that when Freya becomes queen, her entire thing is, hey, let's investigate the murders and find out who did that, who killed like everyone in front of me, etc., etc. It kind of made me think of the third season of American Horror Story, where we have all these like witches in a school for witches, and then we never see anybody do homework at all. You know what I'm talking about? So it was kind of like that. Like when you're a monarch or any kind of world leader, there is like a shit ton of stuff you have to do all the time, and Freya is like not shown doing any of that stuff at all. She literally just like is investigating the murders the whole time, and that's it. And showing and making an appearance at all these parties that she doesn't want to do because like she's not all frivolous and frou-frou. It wasn't terrible. I didn't hate it. I didn't like even really dislike it. It was just kind of eh. Those are the books that I read in the second half of April. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know what you read in the second half of April or in April in general, and I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye!